So now we come on to the indirect transfers. Indirect transfers are a very, very important a part of Indian judiciary, and Vodafone case is concentrated around indirect transfer. We are going to study the Vodafone case and the concept of indirect transfer now. Okay, so this is the case. In front of you is a picture depicting a caricature of one of the biggest tax case of the country. The stakes involved were more than 12,000 crores of only tax amount, and if we added penalty and interest to it, it even escalated to further several thousand crores. So the case was between Vodafone and Union of India. Before I come on to the case, since you guys have already read the first chapter of your syllabus, which is basic concept, let me brush up some basic concept for all of you. Okay, so there are four kinds of income which are taxable in India. There are four kinds of income which are taxable in India. One, income which is received in India. Two, income which is accrued or arise in India. The top circle and the bottom circle represents the two sources of income, the two kinds of income which are taxable into India. One, income which is received in India. Second, income which is accrued or which arises in India. These are the two basic sort of income which are taxable in India. Then third is income which is deemed to receive in India. Deemed to receive means it is not received, but we are assuming, please note my words carefully, it is not received in India, but we are assuming that it is received in India. So it is known as deemed to receive in India. And fourth type of income which is taxed in India is deemed to accrue or arise in India, which means it is actually not accruing or arising in India. It is actually not accruing or arising in India, but we are assuming that it is accruing or arising in India, because the income tax authorities wants to tax every possible income into India, every possible income. So apart from taxing the real received and real accrued income in India, they also tax the assumed received and assumed accrued income in India. So two circles, received and accrued. Apart from that, two more circles, deemed to receive and deemed to accrue. So the Vodafone case is based on the circle which you can see on left side of your screen, section 9, income which is deemed to accrue or arise in India. Actually, the income has not accrued or arise in India. Actually, it has not. But we are assuming, we are deeming, this is known as deeming fiction. Fiction. We are assuming that it is accrued in India. And this assumption can lead to the case as big as Vodafone case. This assumption of Indian government had led to such havoc which was created under Indian tax judiciary. So let me first of all ask you certain basic questions, okay? And CMA Intra and CMA Final, both students should know about these two questions. Guys, section 231 talks about person. Who is a person? Who is a person? Anyone can answer this question. Who is a person?
Everyone, sir.
Everyone, correct. So Rajat, are you a person?
Yes, sir. Individual.
Divya Prajapati, are you a person? According
Yes,
to
sir.
tax law? Perfect. Yogesh, are you a person?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So if I ask you whether the deities which are there in temple, is that a person?
Yes.
Deity which are there in a temple, is that a person?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely yes.
Yes.
If I ask you, is Reliance Industries Limited a person?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Perfect. So what is a person? Person is a very wide definition. Everyone is a person. Everyone is a person according to Income Tax Act 1961. Everyone is a person. Person is a very wide definition. And even if I ask you that okay, is Mr. Joseph, who's residing in USA, who has never come to India, who doesn't earn income in India, who doesn't has any economical link in India or business link in India, is he also a person? You will say yes, he is also a person. Now
Yes,
my
sir.
next question to you is, who is an assessee? Section 2 subsection 7, who is an assessee?
A person who is liable, who is required to pay or liable to pay amount to the government. Tax
Perfect. Vaibhav, what is your answer? Vaibhav Arora.
To come under the purview of ITIQ.
Perfect, perfect. Not only if he is required to pay taxes, not only that is not only the one condition. The first condition is yes, if he is coming under purview of taxes, if he has to pay taxes according to Income Tax Act, then definitely he is a person. But otherwise also, if he is not required to pay taxes in India as per the Income Tax Act, and even if by any other means he comes under the perspective of Income Tax Act, then also he becomes a assessee. I'll give you a small example. If a person is required to deduct taxes on his income, on someone else's income, and his income is exempt, he is not required to pay taxes, but he has to deduct taxes on someone else's income, then also he becomes an assessee. So an assessee is any person who is liable to act according to Income Tax Act. Okay, now I am presenting a chart in front of you, and in this chart I will ask you one question, so keep this question in mind before reading this chart. Okay, just keep this question in mind. The question is, whom do you want to be an assessee? Now all of you sit in the armchair of a tax officer. All of you are a tax officer. Sit in the armchair of a tax officer. If all of you are a tax officer and if all of you work for Government of India, then I want an answer from all of you. You are an IRS. I want an answer from all of you. Out of these entities which I am going to tell you just now, whom do you want to be an assessee from an income tax point of view? So I'll give you a chart. Just look at this chart. Okay. We come to Indian portion first. In India, there is a company called Hutch SR, which is an Indian subsidiary of Intermediate Mauritius company. There's a Mauritius company who is holding maximum shares of Hutch SR. Okay. Then above Mauritius company, there is CGP Investments, a company which is located in Cayman Islands. Any of the final students, please tell me, what is Cayman Islands? Any of the final students? We have studied it in chapter number 1, International Taxation. Perfect, Bhavin. It is a tax haven, okay? So CGP Investments is situated in Cayman Islands, and above CGP Investments, there is Hutchinson International, which is again situated in Cayman Islands, okay? So just see the distance between Indian company and Hutchinson International. There are two entities which are in between India and Cayman Islands entity. There are two entities which are in between. Okay, perfect. Now, the transaction which happened is Hutchinson International sold shares of CGP Investment to a company called Vodafone International Holding BV. And in return, Vodafone International Holding BV paid crores and crores and crores of rupees to Hutchinson International Cayman Islands. So net, after this deal, Hutchinson International Cayman Islands became a wealthy company. It had huge amount of money at its disposal, and naturally you all will your mind will be going to one direction. Yes sir, capital gains have accrued to Hutchinson International. Hutchinson International has earned huge amount of capital gains. Now all my tax officers who are sitting in front of me currently, please tell me, if you are an Indian tax officer, then out of these four entities, whom do you want to be your assessee? Out of these four entities, whom do you want to be your assessee? I'll simplify the question.
Sir,
Indian subsidiary, sir.
Hutchinson
Rajat?
International Company.
Rajat?
Vodafone, sir.
Rajat says Vodafone. Okay. Yogesh, what is your answer?
Indian subsidiary, sir.
But Yogesh, Indian subsidiary is also already an assessee. Indian subsidiary is
sir,
already an
Vodafone.
assessee. Okay, who says Vodafone? Krishan Gopal Dadhi says Vodafone. Okay. Who else?
Vodafone, sir.
Diksha says Vodafone. Okay, okay. Who else? Dinesh, I can see message of Dinesh. Dinesh says Vodafone. Moshmi, what is your answer?
Hutchinson Company.
Okay, Moshmi says you mean Hutchinson International, right? Perfect. Moshmi says Hutchinson. Any other answer? Any other answer? If you are an Indian tax authority, if you are a tax officer, then which company do you want to be your assessee?
So the company which is situated in a tax haven.
Bhavin, please name the company. Bhavin, please name the company.
Sir, why we should Indian government should make the assessee of the?
Because Yogesh, we need taxes. We are greedy people. We need taxes. and we want to recover taxes from the assessee, and only assessee can give us taxes. So we want to make assessee, a rich assessee, as our
Unfair,
assessee.
sir.
Huh?
Unfair, sir.
Why?
Sir, because it's not an Indian company, sir. It's not a
That's
Indian.
okay. Yeah, Yogesh, that's okay. But what I'm asking is that if I give you a liberty, okay? If I give you liberty, choose which of the following companies do you want to be your assessee if you want to exercise your liberty.
Hutchinson International, sir.
Hypothetically.
Hutchinson International.
Hutchinson International, absolutely. All those students who said Vodafone, guys, Vodafone is the losing entity. Losing entity means Vodafone had paid money. It didn't earn money. I want my assessee to be earning huge amount of money. So if I am an Indian officer, then I would target that Hutchinson International, who has earned several thousand crores of capital gains during the current year, he should be my assessee. I should be able to recover taxes from Hutchinson International Cayman Islands. Now, how will I do it? I don't know how will I do it. But if I look at from Indian tax standpoint, from an Indian tax revenue standpoint, my greedy eyes will be focusing on Hutchinson International Limited, that Hutchinson International should be my assessee so that I can recover taxes with respect to capital gains which have been earned by Hutchinson International. Vodafone International is none of my priority. I will not look at Vodafone International. Vodafone International is the losing entity. Losing as in it gave away money to Hutchinson International. Vodafone did incur any capital gain. It is not capital gain earning company. I want the company who has earned capital gain to be my assessee, and that clearly is Hutchinson International Limited. As far as Hutchinson SR India is concerned, it is already the assessee of Indian government. Indian government need not worry about it. Already Hutchinson SR India is paying huge taxes to Indian government. So government is rest assured about Hutch SR. Government is eyeing, with one eye, government is eyeing on Hutchinson International Limited. Hutchinson International should be the assessee who is required to pay taxes as per the Indian Income Tax Act 1961. Now with this objective in mind, if you are the tax officers, guys, please analyze section 9 and tell me whether you think that as per section 9, because the income is not received in India. Okay, let me get back to the last slide first. Okay, now presume Hutchinson International is the assessee in India. Okay, presume Hutchinson International is an assessee in India. Okay, 4 limbs to tax this income. Capital gain is there. 4 limbs to tax in income. Number 1, income should be received in India. Please tell me whether this income is received in India, the Hutchinson International capital gain income. Whether it is received in India, yes
No,
or
sir.
no? No. Chat box, please write yes or no. Keep your fingers handy on the chat box. Yes or no? No. Answer is no. Everyone is saying no. Sanjana says no. Ekta says no. Prakhar says no. Abhishek no. Absolutely not. Income is not received in India. 110% income is not received in India. Question number 2, which I am going to ask all of you. Is income deemed to received in India? Oh, sorry. Is income accrue or received in India? Is income accruing or arising in India? Wait. Let me tell you what are the features that you have to see to judge whether income is accruing or arising in India. Just here are the features first. Feature is, the deal should have been entered into India. The shares should have been bought and sold into India. The share deed should be signed in India. The shares should be belonging to an Indian company. The shares, the contract which has been entered into between the two parties, that should have been done in India. Please tell me if any of these factors have happened in India. Again, answer is no. Answer is no. Nothing happened in India. It all happened outside. Nothing happened in India. So income is not received in India. Income is not accrued or arise in India. So we are left with section number 9, which is deemed to accrue or arise in India, and we are left with section number 7, which is income deemed to receive in India. Let me tell you upfront that income is also not received, deemed to received in India. Section 7 is also out of the picture. So only one section left, according to which we can have Hutchinson International be taxable in India, is section 9. So I am opening section 9 in front of you. You please tell me whether according to section 9, Hutchinson International, will its income qualify to be taxable in India? Yes or no? Okay, let me read the section for you. All income accruing or arising, whether directly or indirectly, through or from any business connection in India, there is any business connection in India, through this business connection, if any income is arising, I'll explain you what is business connection. Business connection means, if suppose you are selling outside and you have outlet in India, if you have a show window in India, if you have a retail outlet in India, you are manufacturing outside but you are selling in India, then you have a business connection in India. Suppose your suppliers are in India, you have a business connection in India. Suppose you have customers in India, you have a business connection in India. So option number 1 is you should have a business connection in India. Option number 2, through or from any property in India. Now please note, shares are of a Mauritian company. Shares are of not a Indian company. So again, property in India, the property should be in India. Option number 4. Option number 4, through or from any asset or source of income in India. So the shares which are showcasing outside, can you see the PPT? Can you see the PPT?
Sir, your screen is not visible. Sir.
My screen is not visible?
Yes, sir. Your screen is not visible.
It is visible, sir.
It is visible, but the
Is it visible
not
now?
visible.
It is not visible? Okay.
yes,
No, sir.
it is
Let me
visible.
reshare. Let me reshare the screen.
Visible, sir.
I'm resharing my screen. Okay, now please tell me whether my screen is visible or not.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay. So now the greedy tax officer within you, the greed which is influencing you to tax Hutchinson International Limited, you have to let the Hutchinson International Limited transaction fall into any one of the 4 categories. Number 1, business connection in India. Number 2, property held in India, property which is held in India. Number 3, source of income in India. If you have any source of income, the capital gain which has earned by Hutchinson International, if that income's source is in India. Number 4, if through transfer of capital assets situated in India, if there is a capital asset which is situated in India and that capital asset is transferred, then you have the right to tax the income in India. Now if any one of you can tell me Hutchinson International's capital gain, does it fall under any of the 4 categories? Because if you say a no, please remember, if you say a no, you will be debarred from collecting taxes worth thousands and thousands crore of rupees of this capital gain. You will be debarred. So please give your answer carefully.
Yes, sir, because it falls
Which
under
clause?
third category.
Third category. Source of income.
Yes.
So Diksha, you are saying that these shares are sourced in India. The shares which
Yes.
are belonging to, just look at the diagram once again, the shares which are belonging to Cayman Islands entity, which is CGP Investments, you are saying these shares are situated in India. Are you saying this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Any other answer? Any other answer? 1, 2, 3, 4. Choose your option. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sir, Hutchison is acquiring more than 26% share indirectly now.
Yes, yes. Hutchinson. In which country are you talking about? In which company are you talking about?
Hutch SR,
No, no. Hutch
which
SR.
is India.
Hutch SR, Indian company. Its shareholder is Mauritian Intermediate and not Hutchinson International. Hutchinson International has nothing to do with Hutch SR. Hutchinson International has no relationship with Hutch SR. Hutch
Okay,
SR
okay.
shares are held by Mauritian company, Mauritius shares are held by Cayman company, and Cayman shares are held by Hutchinson International. So Hutchinson International and Hutch SR have no connection. They are indirectly related and not directly related. There is no connection between Hutchinson International and Hutch SR.
So one doubt, sir.
Yes.
Hutch, sir, is a subsidiary of Hutch International, sir.
No, not at all.
We can't say like that, sir.
No, Hutch SR is subsidiary of Intermediate Mauritius. Hutch SR is not the subsidiary of Hutchinson International. No connect, no relationship.
Sir, it
Therefore-
should be the source of income in India.
Source of income in India, Moshmi. Third option. Okay. Maushmi has chosen
Yes,
third
sir.
option. Anyone else? Anyone else?
सर ड्यू टू एनआर टू एनआर कनेक्शन, सर ये बिजनेस कनेक्शन हो सकता है।
बिजनेस कनेक्शन कैसे होगा? वो तो इंडिया का कनेक्शन होना चाहिए वैभव। इंडिया का कनेक्शन कहाँ है? शेयर्स जो बिक रहे हैं वो सीजीपी इन्वेस्टमेंट केमन आइलैंड्स के बिक रहे हैं और शेयर्स को खरीदने वाला पर्सन भी नेदरलैंड्स का है, वोडाफोन इंटरनेशनल। दोनों एनआर हैं, दोनों का इंडिया से कोई ताल्लुक नहीं है, दोनों का इंडिया से कोई मतलब नहीं है। जिसके शेयर्स बिक रहे हैं उसकी स्टेप सब्सिडरी इंडिया है, दूर का रिलेशनशिप है। तो बिजनेस कनेक्शन इंडिया से कैसे बोलोगे?
सर लाइक ओरेकल, जैसे ओरेकल वाले एग्जांपल में बात।
हाँ
सर
ठीक है, तो तुम्हारा
Oracle,
ऑप्शन है
OIC
बिजनेस कनेक्शन। तुम
Sir,
कह रहे हो बिजनेस
yes.
कनेक्शन फर्स्ट में फॉल करेगा।
Sir, through arm length price.
Arm length price? No, we are not discussing about transfer pricing right now. We are discussing out of these 4 categories, which category will this capital gain fall into? These 4
Capital
categories. Rajat is saying what?
capital assets.
Fourth category, Rajat.
Fourth.
Rajat. It says capital asset situated in India.
Yeah, the shares were belonging to India also.
No, Rajat. No. Shares were belonging to CGP Investment Cayman Islands.
Which held Indian assets.
No. It held Mauritian assets and Mauritian company held Indian assets.
Indirect.
Very, very indirect. That is the problem. This is known as indirect transfer. If it was direct, then there was no doubt, no. Then Vodafone case would not have occurred if there was direct connection. This indirect transfer was the main bone of contention. Main problem was indirect transfer. It was not a direct transfer. So Rajat, do you want to change your answer?
No, sir.
Okay.
Sir, but the case was for Vodafone had failed to did a capital gain tax.
Yes. So indirectly, see what happens is, if Vodafone is liable to give capital gain to Hutchinson International, then Vodafone in turn should be required to deduct TDS. So the primary question was whether this capital gain was taxable in India or not. And the secondary question was whether Vodafone was required to deduct TDS or not. Are you getting the link?
Yeah.
So we are talking about the primary question and not the secondary question as of now. We are talking about the primary question.
Okay, sir.
Because first this income should be taxable in India, only then will the right to TDS arise. Right?
Yes.
Rajat, can you tell me the opening lines of section 195?
Section 195.
Yes, the opening
TDS,
lines.
sir?
Yes, TDS, international transaction, the opening.
I don't remember, sir, actually.
Anyone in the group, if he or she remembers the opening lines of TDS 195, section 195, the opening lines.
Every capital asset.
No. So the opening lines are: income which is chargeable to tax in India, we are required to withhold tax from that income. So TDS is based on a premises that income should first be chargeable to tax in India. Are you getting the link between TDS and income tax? TDS is required to be deducted on income which is chargeable to tax in India. So unless and until this capital gain is chargeable to tax in India, you will not be required to deduct TDS on this particular income. Now let's see what did the Supreme Court said, and the legendary, one and only man who is like an idol for Supreme Court and the Indian judiciary. Indian judiciary will ever be obliged for Mr. S.H. Kapadia, the Chief Justice of India, who pronounced this heavy case and many other cases. This is one of the cases which he has pronounced. He was a part of many cases with respect to income tax or even indirect taxes and several other judicial matters. S.H. Kapadia said, please read these lines carefully. Capital gain, offshore transaction, territorial tax, jurisdiction of Indian tax authority. Forget about all these things. Okay. Now read. Transaction between Vodafone International and Hutchinson International, both companies incorporated outside India, with regard to sale and purchase of entire share capital of CGP. CGP is Cayman Islands Company, also a company incorporated outside India. Revenue seeking to tax capital gain arising from sale of share of capital of CGP on the basis that CGP held underlying Indian assets. Held. Now, Supreme Court. What did Supreme Court say? Held. Held means the conclusion. The conclusion is Indian tax authorities had no territorial jurisdiction. Please note these words. Territorial jurisdiction. Indian authorities had no territorial jurisdiction to tax the said offshore transaction. Please note the word offshore transaction. Offshore means the transaction has not occurred in India. If the transaction has not occurred in India, then guys, all these four parameters fail. All these four parameters fail. Because please note the ending words of all these four parameters. In India, in India, in India, in India. Unless and until transaction happens in India or have a live nexus with India, the income tax authorities cannot tax the transaction. So, the court says that applying the look at test means you look at the entities which are involved in this particular transaction, which are foreign entities. Applying the look at test in order to ascertain true nature and character of the transaction, the offshore transaction in the instant case is a bona fide structured FDI investment into India. Foreign direct investment has been introduced in India, which fell outside the Indian territorial jurisdiction. This transaction is outside Indian periphery. The said offshore transaction evidences participative investment and not a sham or tax avoidant preordained transaction. So Supreme Court says nothing doing. This transaction is not belonging to Indian tax authorities. All the tax officers who have greed in their eyes, whose eyes are brimmed with greed of money of recovering tax, please control yourself, because this transaction is not taxable in India. Because this capital gain is not taxable in India. Because this assessee is not an assessee in India. Hutchinson International is not an assessee in India. This income is not taxable according to section 9, which is deemed to occur or arise in India. Income tax authorities do not collect taxes on this capital gain which has accrued to Hutchinson International, Cayman Islands. Yogesh, were you saying the same thing? Yogesh,
So what-
was your point of view, was it concurring with point of view of Mr. S.H. Kapadia?
Yes, sir.
Are you on the same page with Mr. S.H.
Ah.
Kapadia?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is he right in saying this, that this transaction should not be taxed
He is
in India?
correct, sir.
He is correct. Okay.
In the section of 9, deemed to occur and arise, or in that section, sir, I also thought in each and every point it was ending in India, sir. So I didn't see any answer for those options, sir.
Absolutely, absolutely. Rajat, what is your opinion on this landmark ruling? Is Mr. Kapadia correct or incorrect? Rajat,
Yes, sir.
do you find merit in what he says?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, guys. We find merit in what he says. It is absolutely correct. Please don't look through the entities. Please understand the difference between word look at and look through. So, if you have an opaque body in front of you, do you know the difference between opaque body and transparent body? Opaque body and transparent body? Do you know the difference? There is a difference between opaque body and transparent body. Opaque body
Sir, no,
means
sir.
Transparent, which is clear.
transparent means which through which you can see through and throughout, like mirror, like a glass. Through my specs, this is my glass, I can see in and out through this glass, right? This glass is transparent. This glass is transparent. What is opaque? My mobile phone is opaque. My mobile phone is opaque. My mobile phone, you cannot see through my mobile phone. It is an opaque body. It is not a transparent body. So what S.H. Kapadia said is, please honor, Income Tax Department, please respect the two entities which are in between, CGP Investments and Mauritius Intermediate. They are not transparent bodies. You cannot look through them. You cannot say that they don't exist. They exist. You cannot say that CGP Investment shares are made of the assets which are situated in India. No, you cannot say this. CGP Investments is made out of assets which are situated in Mauritius Intermediate Holding and not Hutch SR, which is the ultimate subsidiary. So don't look through. Look through means don't consider CGP Investment and Mauritius Intermediate as transparent entities. Please do not do that mistake. Please consider these two entities as valid entities and respect, honor the presence of these two entities in between Hutchinson International and Hutchinson HR. There is no direct relationship between Hutchinson International and Hutchinson HR. Hutchinson SR is your client, is your assessee. Recover tax on its capital gain, we don't mind. But when you talk about Hutchinson International, it is not your assessee. Please do not do this. And what did Pranab Da did at that point in time? Pranab Mukherjee is known for his notorious retrospective amendment. Now just look at this amendment which was introduced by Pranab Mukherjee in the year 2012 with effect from 1st April 1962. Please read explanation 5 carefully. For the removal of doubts, it is hereby clarified that an asset or capital asset being any share or interest in a company. Please pause. Please don't read further. Please pause. Tell me, which company's shares are being talked about in this explanation? Which company's shares? Read the explanation once again till that point. For the removal of doubts, it is hereby clarified that an asset or a capital asset being any share or interest in a company or entity registered outside India. Please tell me which company's shares are being talked about in this particular diagram.
Hutchison International.
No, incorrect. Not Hutchinson International. Incorrect.
Acha,
Sir,
sir.
Vodafone.
Yes, sir. Hutchinson, yes, sir.
Incorrect.
Sir, sir.
Incorrect.
Sir, Vodafone.
Incorrect. Tell me, capital gain is
Sir.
arising. Capital gain is arising out of which?
investment.
Absolutely.
CGP investment.
Absolutely. Guys, capital gain is arising out of CGP investment shares. So we have to focus on CGP investment shares. So because of this CGP investment shares, this amendment came in. Please read the amendment very, very carefully. For removal of doubts, it is hereby clarified that an asset or capital asset being any share or interest in a company or entity registered outside India shall be deemed to be and shall always be deemed to have been situated in India if the share or interest derives directly or indirectly its value substantially from assets located in India. Now, tell me, what is the difference which is caused by this explanation on Mr. S.H. Kapadia's judgment? The explanation says that even if the shares of a particular company derive its value from the assets situated in India, then those shares, even if sold outside India, will be deemed to be shares which are sold inside India. Can you see the notorious activity done by Pranab Da? The notorious activity is, guys, in this diagram, CGP Investment Cayman Island shares are located outside India, but they derive their value from Indian subsidiary, the step subsidiary which is there, the second subsidiary which is there. It derives the value from Indian subsidiary which is Hutch SR India. So now, after introduction of this amendment, even the share capital which accrues to CGP Investment in Cayman Islands, that is also taxable in India. Do you get the connect? Do you get the relationship? Do you get the relationship?
Sir, as because the intermediate that in between the Cayman Island and Hutch SR, which is
Yes.
located in India,
Yes.
as the intermediary is deriving its value from
Yes.
the Hutch SR, that's why
Absolutely,
it is
Mashmi.
treated as a direct transfer.
Yes, Mashmi, yes. Because the shares of CGP investments have their value derived from assets which are situated in India. So see, the shares of Mauritian intermediate, their value is derived from assets situated in India, which is Hutch SR. And intermediate Mauritius is forming part of CGP investments. So indirectly, CGP investments shares have some value which is located from the assets which are situated in India. So even indirect connection to an Indian subsidiary will also be deemed to be an Indian income. This is what is done by Pranabda in this particular amendment. Please read this amendment. For the removal of doubts, it is hereby clarified that an asset or a capital asset being shares which are for a company incorporated outside India shall be deemed to be and shall always have been deemed to be situated in India if the shares derive its substantial value from assets located in India. So irrespective of the fact whether shares were sold in India, irrespective of the fact whether shares were sold to a person who is not in India, irrespective of the fact that shares were sold of not an Indian company, irrespective of the fact that the sales consideration was received outside India, this transaction will be taxed in India. Hutchinson International will become an entity, an assessee taxable in India because of this amendment. Now I'll ask you one question. The transaction happened in 2008 and this explanation came in 2012. How can this explanation apply to a transaction which happened in 2008?
Retrospective effect.
सर रेट्रोस्पेक्टिव इफेक्ट उसका मतलब ये होता है शुरुआत से.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Retrospective amendment करी एक्ट में with effect from बोल दिया 1 April 1962 और retrospective amendment इस वाले सेक्शन में करी गई. Explanation was introduced from a retrospective effect. To this point, the journalists, the tax experts of around the world criticized Pranab Mukherjee that Pranab Mukherjee did a wrong thing. You assume a situation that suppose I am asking you to pay me an X amount for my direct tax classes. I have told you that okay, you have to pay this amount for my direct tax classes and you will be getting classes on a piecemeal basis, and say by August mid we will deliver you the entire course. Okay, I have committed you this and I have asked you to pay X amount, you have paid me X amount. Okay, now suddenly in July end I tell you, oh, my fees has revised. Now my fees is X plus Y. My fees is additional. And this transaction is retrospective, which means since the time you had enrolled for these classes, this revised fees is applicable since that time. Your argument will be, sir, when I bought the classes, they were for X amount. I should have been permitted to pay the X amount. If subsequently you change the prices, I should be immune to it. But no, I am saying you please pay me the enhanced amount from a retrospective effect. Please tell me, fair or unfair? Fair or unfair? According to logic.
Unfair.
Yes.
Unfair.
Yes, guys.
Unfair, sir.
Unfair, absolutely.
Unfair.
This was equivocally told by all the tax experts in the world that Pranab Mukherjee, you did a wrong thing. You did this thing in garb of collecting taxes and due taxes should be given to Indian authorities. You said all those things, but everyone criticized Pranab Mukherjee a lot. But so be it. The act has been amended retrospectively, and since act has been amended retrospectively, now according to the act, any entity who is doing an indirect transfer, that is also required to pay its taxes on indirect transfers also. But indirect transfer now has been a circular has been released by the ministry, and in that circular all the essential elements of indirect transfer, what are the critical things which are to be seen in indirect transfer, all those are listed, and they are held as a guide to all of us, so that indirect transfer are administered properly by the tax officers.